Indian music. It is a vast field with so much depth and history, interconnected into the cultural spheres, the social spheres, the spiritual spheres, and the healing sphere. From mentions in Vedic scripts and Ayurveda to the contemporary practice of music therapy, there is much that can be said about the healing values of music in India. But for today, let's focus on music therapy for children with disabilities. You may be watching this as a loved one of a child with autism or special needs, an enjoyer of music, or someone a part of the Indian community. Whoever you are, this is important. You probably know someone with special needs or will in the future. And in India, the stigma attached to it is real, from the loss of identity to the lack of care. These are all important values that can alter the well-being of a person. While the social issues at hand must be addressed and tackled head-on, how can we also use alternate spaces such as music therapy centers to address some of the needed care? For 6 weeks, I traveled to a large city and the capital of the South Indian state of Karnataka, Bengaluru, where I had the chance to speak with multiple practitioners, musicians, and parents to answer these questions. There were a variety of musics used within the centers. Some sang lullabies, others sang a style of Indian music known as Carnatic music, and other practitioners chanted mantras. When singing Carnatic music, one of the centers also emphasized the values of ragas and how certain ragas can appeal to certain emotions. There was a familiarity of the music being sung during music therapy, whether through the connection of music to the culture of the students or the usage of a mother tongue language as a method of therapy. I'm a very strong believer in language as therapy, one practitioner said. That is, the first language that you hear as a child. That's the language that we dream in, we think in, and there's a comfort to it no matter how proficient you are in other languages. Your mother's language will always be your first love. The incorporation of one's own culture, or their community's culture, speaks to how the therapy was driven by the time, space, and values of the students or the students' surroundings. In a study done among the Italian population, it was strongly confirmed that there is a link between cultural access and health status. The integration of culture and access to cultural activities can be beneficial for one's psychological welfare and lead to decreased morbidity rates. So while music therapy can take on a more clinically driven role of providing therapeutic care, we can also look at these classes through the roles they take on within cultural activity. Both roles can be vital in their ability to increase well-being among participants. During one of the first weeks in Bengaluru, the practitioners of one of my centers sent me a flyer for a performance that her center and the students were putting on. Sitting in the hall attached to a temple in South Bengaluru, the Carnatic music filled the room. A boy in his late teens sang with so much vocal power, patting the thala on his lap, and was accompanied with other instrumental musicians. It was clear he loved what he was doing, and that was only further established when speaking to his mother and learning he planned to attend graduate school in music. One of his goals? To become a music therapist for other children on the spectrum. It was obvious the boy had found identity and purpose in his practice. The connection between purpose and well-being have long been studied and shown to increase well-being through its ability to generate motivational behaviors, reduce psychological problems, and increase cognitive activity. Following each child's performance, a parent would come to stage and share with the crowd the value of music therapy. In the moments following their child's performance, these talks express moments of gratitude and celebration. Coupled with the audience of the performance mostly being loved ones of the children, these performances symbolize a time to come together to cherish a space, a hobby, the impact it had on their child, and extension, the impact it had on them. About a week later, I attended a music therapy class held at the home of the practitioner. In the living room sat the practitioner, the mother, and her son, a teenage boy on the spectrum. These classes took place one-on-one with the practitioner sitting on a sofa chair facing directly towards the boy, the practitioner directed the boy's focus towards her by calling his name and having him hold eye contact with her as they began to sing. The practitioner started with singing the sargam of Carnatic music and having the boy follow in the call and response style. She underscored the rhythmic beat cycle of the song by clapping along and indicating for the boy to clap along as well. The characteristics of this class pointed to the benefits that the classes can have on communication techniques, such as facing the individual, maintaining eye contact with the individual, and pattern recognition techniques. Therefore, this shows that both active music making and receptive music engagement have cognitive benefit for children with ASD, mainly sustained attention, memory, and enhanced verbal communication. There was an air of comfort surrounding the hour, especially with the practitioner's husband offering to make us chai to drink. Sitting in our respective chairs and couches within a homely setting and drinking tea while chatting seemed to break the fourth wall often present in more formalized settings and open up lively communication. The two mothers talked amongst themselves and with me about their kids and the values they have found for themselves and their children amongst the music classes. One mother mentioned that coming to these classes was not only an outing for her daughter, who was on the spectrum and diagnosed with epilepsy, but was also a time for her to step out of the house and socialize. She mentioned that in the past, she never felt too comfortable taking her daughter outside for long periods of times. This meant that she was often at home looking after her daughter. She then started taking her daughter to music therapy. The social and community atmosphere emphasized through the environment of these classes served to be important for the well-being of parents with children with disabilities, as well as their children. The same mother also mentioned how the medication her child had to take to treat her epilepsy often led to depression. As she continued to grow older, the symptoms became more prevalent as she stopped talking to many people. The mother mentioned how the musics have increased the quality of her life by giving her a space to find joy in a hobby. She noted how the short-term impacts of music, such as increase in happiness after the classes, are a notable part of her daughter's time with the music classes. So what's to make of all of this? My time spent in India showed me the role that music can play as a complementary medicine, where an emphasis is placed on psychosocial health for both the students and their parents. The great part about music and these classes is that they are a multi-dimensional path that can be connected to various purposes within the process of well-being. From the behavioral perspective, to the roles and identity and purpose, to its cultural ties, to the impact on not only the children but also the parents, there is so much music has to offer within the healing sphere. So what are you and your loved ones going to take away from it?